I'd like to show you a little game I've had in my back pocket for a while. It's a very nice icebreaker. It's very engaging with your audience, and it's very adaptable. That is, to the amount of people that you have and the amount of time you have. I've seen it played with 5 or 10 people when we have 5 or 10 minutes to kill. I've seen it work for an hour with 30, 50 people. So let's get into it. I have here a prototype on a notepad, but imagine it on one of those Dimitri Martin big pads. That's how I write it up when it's a full product. And the big pad has instructions for the players to follow. So the first one I was designing for was people who are coming back from their lunch break. About 15 people, and I said, please range yourself in 3 groups. This has worked, I think, most of the times I've played it. I've had this on there, and it just gives the people a little low-stakes task to do together. It's an icebreaker before the icebreaker. Gets people shaking hands and introducing names before the official game even starts. When it does, they, well, write what they see. I have a homemade ink blot test here, and they have pens and pieces of paper to write down their interpretations of the test. They're doing this for a couple minutes. You do your patter, and then you have the people who are sitting in their 3 groups. You take one person from each group, and they're your patients. And then you bring a 4th person who will be the analyst. And now is a good time, especially if the people don't know each other at all, to ask a couple softball icebreaker questions. And make sure they're good icebreaker questions, because this can go bad if you ask them about their favorite holiday or memory that's very specific, their favorite something, and you just put them on the spot. That oftentimes doesn't work. It needs to be something more open-ended than that, but that's beside the point. What you really need to do is just give a story or thought or something that'll give the analyst the tiniest bit of information to work off of, because you're going to be asking that person to one by one find who had what answer. The patients give you the answer and shuffle them up, and the answers are all just inherently, because of the way the game works, silly, and it has the people asking questions about each other, so people are laughing, people are getting to know each other. At the end of the round, they win, they lose, people are laughing. So you send them back to your seats, and then, depending on the amount of time you have, you can do this 2, 3 more times. And as they come up, remember to keep their answers on the piece of paper and put them in your own hat, because we'll need them later. As we're moving on here, depending on the amount of time you have and the type of people you're working with, if you're working with kids with a short attention span, this is good. Put other things in between the game proper. Campfire games, improv games, what have you. This is something that I actually saw for the first time in the wonderful show, Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind. And it's just 27 little blank spots, and you ask for a word and a phrase and a saying and a lyric until all 27 letters are filled out, and then they sing it in the form of the ABCs. I've never seen it fail to get a laugh. People love it. But you could easily replace it with the game of What Am I Thinking? A round of conversation in the game. I don't know. Headbands, a variation of Zip Zap Zop, what have you. From there, you go back to the game proper, and things start getting really silly. We now have draw. You're going to be asking one person from each of the tables who hasn't played before to come up and pick at random one of the answers you've already used and then draw it. Nobody else sees it, and the analyst now has the job of connecting the drawing to the artist, and then connecting the drawing to the answer from the previous round, and connecting all of those things to what the original ink blot test was. If you've ever played, I call it Super Ultra Mega Charades. It's the same concept, where that game goes, you put all of the same prompts in the hat for charades, and then you start by playing a round of taboo where you explain the prompt, everybody goes around, and the next round everybody goes around and plays charades with a prompt, and then as you go around everybody vocalizes the prompt with just a short or an expression. And so if you're looking at it like a graph, it's getting easier for the players as they're getting more used to doing the same prompt round after round after round, and they're memorizing them. But the challenge gets harder as the game goes on, because you're no longer asking them to describe Ezra Furman, you're having them do an interpretive dance of Ezra Furman. But at the same time, everyone's already memorized what the cards are, so it's the same level of difficulty, but more absurd. And this is very similar to that, only we're getting more content with every round as well. Now, we have the tests themselves and the answers and the drawings that are interpretations of the answers. And this is a real drawing that I played with because the person thought that this looked like two Psyducks having a sword fight. And so that's what we have here. Again, you can go long for as long as you want to ask as many questions as you want, go as far as you please. And so you can have a couple of rounds of other silly things. If you want to do a round where it's just singing, you can have a round where it's just singing. But at the end, you will have the variety grab bag. So they're playing one of these things off of one of these things. So let's see. I'm going to do a drawing based off of a drawing, and then people will guess what the drawing is based off of. What the new drawing is based off of, what the old drawing is based off of, and if the people can even remember at that point where the origin of that idea started from in a telephone fashion. Do a song based on a answer. And it's just completely random. It gets sillier as it goes on. And unlike the other game, there's more things to keep track of every time. So I've seen it work. I stand by it. I love it. Thanks for watching.